Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Paul. In today's video, we're going to be providing you our monthly report in regards to the performance of our signals provided within our VIP. As we do with all of our videos, we're going to go over the tally of all of the trades we called out, win rates broken down from a weekly and monthly basis. But more importantly, in the spirit of transparency, we're also going to hop into the charts and go through every signal we called out. That way you can see for yourself the quality and accuracy of the signals provided. So these are the trades that we called out for the month of July. As you can see, we break everything down week by week, tallying our wins as well as our losses. Now, you'll notice in comparison to other updates, there are some weeks where we called out less signals, and that is just because of either holidays or vacations, because of course this is during the summer where, I mean, come on guys, you know, who is it going to take a little bit of time off or vacation with the wife, with the kids? But nevertheless, that doesn't stop us from delivering quality signals. So for the first week of July, we delivered over 1,700 pips in profit, winning 10 out of 12 trades, which is an 83.33% win rate. Second week, over 2,500 pips in profit, winning 17 out of 18 trades, delivering a 94.44% win rate. Third week, over 1,200 pips in profit, winning 9 out of 11 trades, which is an 81.82% win rate. Third week, a little bit slower, but nevertheless, we delivered over 1,100 pips in profit, winning 7, actually no, not 17, that's incorrect, not 17 out of 8. We won 7 out of 8 trades, delivering an 87.5 win rate for the week. And then the last week, over 1,900 pips in profit, winning 12 out of 13 trades with a 92.31% win rate. In total, as you can see at the bottom, total tally from our wins, delivering over 9,300 pips in profit. We did have a few losses, so as you can see, on the first week, we had 2 losses, second week, only 1 loss, third week, 2 losses, fourth week, 1 loss, and the fifth week, 1 loss. So it's a total of 7 trades for the entire month, which is fantastic. So if you subtract the losses from our wins, this gives us a total profit gain of 8,650 pips for the month at an 88% win rate. Now, for those of you new to the concept of pips, how that translates in terms of a dollar value, if you're trading with a small account using a micro lot size of 0.01, that's 10 cents per pip. So 10 cents multiplied by 8,650, that's over $860. At a 0.05 lot size, that's 50 cents per pip. So 50 cents multiplied by 8,650, that's over 4,300. At a 0.10 lot size, that's $1 per pip. $1 multiplied by 8,650, that's over $8,600 for the month. And for those of you with larger accounts or trading at a standard 1 lot size, that's $10 per pip. So $10 multiplied by 8,650 is over $86,000, all by copying and pasting the signals we provide. Now, for those of you who are new, the trades that we're going to be reviewing, as you can see here on the board, that we're also going to be showing you on the chart, these are my personal trades that I call out for the community. This does not include the signals that you also receive from our partners. So one of the many benefits provided within our VIP is that not only do you get access to my signals, you also get access to our partner signals as well. This is a huge convenience and a benefit for our members because, for one, it allows you to be able to access and copy our signals regardless of whatever time zone you live in. And in the cases, if I'm not available, whether I'm sick or I'm away on vacation, if I'm not able to provide my signals, at least you still have access to our partner signals as well. So if you want to learn more about that and the other benefits provided, you can visit our website down below. But now let's hop into the charts and go over each signal we call out for the month. So starting off for the month of July 1st, we started the day with a couple of sells at 33.48 and 33.53. As you can see here on the chart, here are the 2 sell entries, which, as you can see based off the chart and the updates, we finally got the drop that we were waiting for, where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for both trades for 230 pips on the first and 250 pips on the second. Then we did a buy at 33.38. Here's that entry where take profits 1 and 2 were hit for 90 pips. A buy at 33.37. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 250 pips. And then on the next day, the second, we started off the day with a series of buys. We had a buy at 33.42, 33.43, and 33.47. Here are those 3 entries, which, as you can see, all take profits were hit 1 through 5 for 250 pips, 240 pips, and 200 pips. Later on that day, we called out for another buy at 33.62. Here's that entry, which, as you can see, didn't work out so well, resulting in a loss. But then we made up for it where we called out another buy at 33.47 as price dropped. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 4 were hit for 180 pips. Next day on the 3rd, we started off the day with a buy at 33.47. Here's that entry where take profits 1 and 2 were hit for 100 pips. But then as price dropped, we called out for another buy at 33.28, which didn't work out so well. Here's that entry right here in the midst of this very large candle, but price continued to drop further, hitting our stop loss for a loss. Shortly after that, we made up for it by calling out another buy at 33.25. Here's that entry at the formation of these wicks, which, as you can see, as price progressed, take profits 1 through 5 were hit for an additional 200 pips. Now, as many of you know, July 4th, which this year was a Friday, it's a major holiday here in the United States. We were away for that weekend, so no trading conducted on Friday. So we returned the following Monday on the 7th. So on the 7th, we start off the day with a sell at 33.11. Here's that entry where take profit 1 was hit for 60 pips. Then another sell at 33.07. Here's that entry. Let me just zoom in a little bit, which the sell at 33.07, as you can see from the chart, didn't work out well, resulting in a loss. Then we did a sell at 33.21. Here's that entry. Take profit 1 was hit for 50 pips. And then our sell at 33.25. Here's our entry. I made an announcement shortly after we sent out this sell that I wasn't liking the price action. It was still floating near our entry. So I instructed everyone to trail their stop loss to break even to remove risk from this trade. And it was a good thing we did, because as you can see from this point of our entry, price continued upward. So by closing our trade at break even, you don't win any profits, but you also don't lose any money either, removing our risk from any loss. Then later on, we did another sell at 33.32. Here's that entry where take profit 1 was hit for 60 pips. Then we did a quick update on the progress of those trades. And then we did a couple of buys at 33.30 and 33.34. So here's the 33.30 entry and the 33.34 entry. Take profit 1 was hit for 90 pips on the first trade, and take profit 1 was hit for 70 pips on the second trade. Then on the 8th of July, we started off the day with a series of sells. So we did a sell at 33.21, 33.24, and 33.28. Here are those 3 entries, which, as you can see, based off of the chart and the updates, take profits 1 through 5 were hit for all 3 of these trades for over 230 pips, 260 pips, and 250 pips. Then later on that afternoon, we did a couple more sells right over here. Let me just move over. So we did a sell at 33.02 and 33.02 again. We entered here for our first trade at 33.02. Price came up a little bit in a drawdown, then revisited our entry level once again. So we entered for another sell. So this is why we called out for another sell at the same entry. As you can see, as price dropped, take profits 1 through 4 were hit for both trades for another 220 pips each. Next day on the 9th, we did a couple more sells. So a sell at 32.90 and 32.95. Here are those 2 entries. So here's the 290 and here's the 295. Take profits 1 and 2 were hit for 90 pips on the first, and take profits 1 through 3 were hit for 120 on the second. And then we re-evaluated our bias, and then we started to call off for some bias. So we did a buy at 32.96. Here's that entry, and a buy at 33.08. Here's that entry. And as you can see, take profits 1 through 5 were hit on the first trade for 230 pips, and 240 pips. Take profits 1 through 5 on that second buy. July 10th, let's move over. So we started off the day with a buy at 33.24. Here's that entry. Take profits 1 2 were hit for 80 pips. And then we did a sell shortly after that at 33.22. Here's that entry. As you can see, take profits 1 through 3. Yep, 1 through 3 were hit for 140 pips. Then I did a little update in regards to the wedge we were in at the time of these signals. And then after we broke out of that wedge, we called out for a buy at 33.15. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 220 pips. Then on Friday, the 11th, there was no trading conducted. So basically, I announced to everyone with all the signals that we had called out for that week, we only had 1 loss and 1 at break even. So I decided that since we made some significant profits for the week, I didn't want to put those at risk. So I decided to not trade on Friday and to resume trading the following week. So on the following Monday, on the 14th, we started the day with a buy at 33.55. Here's that entry, which didn't work out, resulting in a loss. And then we did another buy at 33.41. Here's that entry, where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 200 pips. In the midst of this buy, we also called out for a sell at 33.45. Here's that entry, where take profit 1 was hit for 50 pips. Next day on the 15th, made an announcement. I was taking a personal day off with the family, with the wife and kids, spending the day at the beach. So no signals were conducted on that day, but then we resumed trading the following day. We're on the 16th, where we started off the day with a sell at 33.36. Here's that entry, where take profits 1 through 4 were hit for 190 pips. As price spiked up, we called out for a sell at 33.55. Here's that entry, which didn't work out, resulting in a loss. But then as price came up to higher levels, we called out for another sell. Here's the call for the sell, entering between 33.73 and 33.75. So we basically entered at the formation of this wick, which was a great call because as you can see from this point, price dropped down, hit and take profits 1 through 5 for 250 pips. Now, as price dropped to this lower level, we then called for a buy at 33.47. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 3 were hit for another 120 pips. Couple of reports in regards to the progress of those signals that we called out, and then on the following day, on the 17th, we started with a buy at 33.26. Here's that entry, which as you can see, price came down into some drawdown and then returned back to our entry. So because of the bearish price action, I announced to everyone to trail their stop loss at break even to eliminate our risk and avoid the loss. And it was a good thing we did because as you could see shortly after that, price dropped down. So if we didn't do that, this would have added another loss to the tally. But because we managed our trades properly, we closed that break even, avoiding the loss. Then as price came down to lower levels, we called out for another buy at 33.10, between 33.10 and 33.08. So here's that entry in the midst of these wicks, which as you can see, beautiful entry where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 220 pips. So here's something I want to point out to you guys in relation to the announcement of closing our trade at break even from this buy. Yes, copying signals are very easy, but there is a reason why on one side you have many traders who are following signals make a lot of money. You also have many other traders following those same signals who don't make money and end up blowing their account. Why? Because of how you manage your trades. From this announcement, you can see that because of this trade and the instructions that I made of closing our trade at break even, this was a great example of why it's so important to manage your trades. Copying signals doesn't always mean you leave your trades to run in hopes that it hits your take profit. There are times where you have to reevaluate the market and take necessary action to any open trades you have. In this particular case, price kept hitting our support while fluctuating in our entry zone between 33.24 and 33.26. This is why I stated to bring your stop loss to break even or trail into profit because markets were showing signs of weakness at our support. So to play it safe and remove our risk, this is why I announced to trail at break even. If you followed my instructions, you either broke even, meaning no loss whatsoever, or you made a small profit of 10 to 20 pips. This is a prime example of how you can make money even from losing trades. You ever wonder why or how people in a trading group get different results from the same signals? It all comes down to how you manage your trades. This is one of several topics that I cover in our tutorial videos in the pinned message, all right? So just want to share that little piece of value for you folks because we don't just want to provide you with signals, we want to provide you with the proper skills so you can manage your trades properly and thereby mitigate your risk and amplify your profits. Continuing with the signals, we later on sent out a signal to sell at 33.36. So here's that entry. As you can see from our entry and our stop loss levels, price fluctuated for a bit, basically consolidated for a few hours until eventually hit and take profit 1 for 70 pips. And then on the 18th, we started with a buy at 33.52. Here's that entry. And while this buy was in motion, we also called out for a scalp sell at 33.54, which was this entry over here. So our sell hit take profits 1 through 3 for 120 pips, but for anyone who held the buy trade, as you could see, consolidated for a bit. We were in a little bit of drawdown until eventually price rallied, hit and take profits 1 through 5 for 250 pips. Now on the following week, Monday the 21st, I made an announcement that I wasn't really feeling that great, so I wasn't sending out any signals. So we will resume the following day on the 22nd. So on the 22nd, we started off with a buy at 33.87. Here's that entry right before the rally where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 230 pips. Now, in the midst of this rally, we called out for a sell. Here's that entry, which didn't work out, resulting in a loss. But then we called out another sell shortly after at 34.18. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 3 were hit for 160 pips as a result of this wick, which came all the way down here. All right, then we did another sell. Let me just scroll up here. Another sell at 34.29. Here's that entry. Take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 210 pips. And then the following day, the 23rd, we did a buy at 34.22. Here's that entry. Take profits 1 through 3 were hit for 100 pips. And then shortly after that, price dropped where we called out a sell at 34.14. Here's that. I forgot to mark this on the chart. So hold on, guys. So yeah, we had a sell here at 34.14 right after our buy here at 34.22. So as you can see, a sell at 34.14 at 9:48 a.m. So if we look at the time here, 948, 950. So right around this area. And again, the sell range was between the 34.14 and 34.16. So let's mark this on the chart. Here's where price hit 34.14. So as you can see, price went as far as 34.20. So if we had entered even just here at 34.14, stop loss was set at 34.24. So that would be here, which as you can see, price did not hit our stop loss, eventually dropping down, and our take profit 5 was at 33.90 right here. So in this trade, which I clearly forgot to mark, take profits 1 through 5 were hit for an additional 240 pips. So we'll add that to the total tally. But moving on, as price dropped down, we then called out for a buy at 39.85. Here's that entry where take profits 1 through 3 were hit for 130 pips. Then we did a couple of updates. I posted a video in regards to my analysis. And then this brings us to the following trading day on the 25th. So what was the 25th at? The 23rd, which are these trades that we just went over, was a Wednesday. There was no trading conducted on Thursday. To be honest, I don't even know why I didn't do any trading on that day. Maybe I wasn't feeling good. So we resumed trading the following day on the 25th. So on Friday, the 25th, we called out one signal to sell at 33.42. Here's that entry, which as you can see, take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 240 pips. And then on Sunday evening, the 27th, we did a buy at 33.31. Here's that entry, take profits 1 through 3 were hit for 150 pips. Then on Monday, the 28th, we started off the day with a couple of buys, a buy at 33.32 and 33.12. Here are those two sells, which as you can see, didn't work out in our favor, resulting in a loss. But then we made up for it by calling out a buy at 33.12 in this region, again, where eventually price took off, hit and take profits 1 through 4. That's not correct. It says 1 through 4 here, but let's just double check. So here's our entry at 33.12, between 33.12 and 33.10. So here's that entry, and our take profit 5 was 33.35. So 33.35. Yeah, so this hit take profits 1 through 5 for 240 pip. The next day, the 29th, we did a series of sells at 33.25, 33.20, and 33.30. So here's our first entry at 33.25, second entry at 33.20, and third entry at 33.30. So as you can see, based off of the chart, take profits 1 through 5 were hit on our first trade for 270 pips, 1 and 2 for 100 pips on the second trade. Take profits 1 through 5 hit for 210 pips on the third sell. Then on the 30th, we had a bit of a late day, so I did make an announcement that, I hadn't called out any signals because of just the price action, but then eventually we did start calling out some trades here, beginning with a series of sells at 33.08, 32.95, and 32.95 again. So here's that first entry at 33.08, where take profits 1 through 5 were hit for 200 pips. Our second entry here at, 32.95, a little bit of drawdown, but then eventually price dropped down, hitting all take profits 1 through 5 for 220 pips. And then as price started to come back up, we entered for another sell at 32.95 yet again, where take profit 1 was hit for a small gain of 50 pips. And then on the last day of July, we targeted another series of sells, a sell at 33.07, 33.01, and 32.96. So here's our 33.07 entry, our 33.01 entry, and 32.96 entry. And as you can see, folks, this was a great way for ending the month, where take profits 1 through 5, 1 through 4, and 1 through 4 were hit for each of these trades for 240 pips, 200 pips, and 160 pips, bringing our total tally, or I should say the adjusted tally, because we want to add that trade that we had forgotten to calculate. Adding an additional 240 to this number brings the total tally to 8,890 pips for the month, with over an 88% win rate, just by simply following, copying, and pasting the signals that we provide. We conduct the analysis, we send out the signals, and all you have to do is copy the trades onto your broker and collect the profits. So there you have it, folks. That's our monthly update. If you have any questions, reach out anytime. If you want to learn more about our services and how to get started today, visit our websites down below, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside of our community. Take care.